So, alright, we are being spoiled literally with all of these previews coming up, and this one is no different. This is the first volume of the BROLY pack, featuring both the cards that are in it. I was very confused before, but now it kind of makes sense as far as the BROLY packs, volume 1, saying 2 cards, and then I don't think... Yeah, if we go over here, it's actually gonna go see it. Oh my! You can see them here, 2 cards per pack here, and then 2 cards per pack in this one, and then 2 cards per pack on this one, with 4 different cards per. So I think these are just kind of placeholders. So in the future, they're gonna be a little bit different. So most likely volume 2 will only have 1 card per pack with 5 different cards to choose from or to be able to get, and then 4 cards and 4 cards per pack, most likely all 4 cards. Anyway, I'm sure if you've seen it already, and if you didn't already, this is the first BROLY pack volume, and they feature both a base GOGETA leader and as well as the base BROLY leader from the movie. And what I want to do is kind of go over both of the leaders, the potential things that are coming out and about with them, and I mean, honestly, these two are really good. And by the way, if you don't know how to get these are basically promo cards, are like another word for dash pack, but they're really just BROLY packs. You just have to buy 2 starters and then 6 boosters with a friend. I don't know if you have to have a friend. Sorry for those who don't have any friends, but if you just buy two starters and then 6 boosters, you're gonna get a pack of these that have both of these cards. I don't know if yeah, each pack contains one of 2 unique pair of cards, so you get both of them. So there you go. Anyway, the first one here is going to be GOGETA, the base GOGETA. Absolutely cool design. Do I like the older one? Kind of, but I do like the whole 2018 sort of revamp and ideologically, however you say the word. I can't speak half the time, but this is just a cool looking card, and I think because both of these are going to be foil, they're going to be really good looking in person, especially since the BROLY one and the Goku one, yeah, the Goku one from the movies are both foil, and they're gonna have a similar sort of style with it, and especially with the sort of blast on both of them, they're gonna look really good. Anyway, so the activate main for this guy, he is a blue leader. Yes, you can indicate by this and as well as the background back here, because it's kind of hard otherwise to kind of tell. So that means he is automatically really good, and with the activate main, once per turn, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and choose up to 1 red, yes, red, or blue, Son Goku BROLY, Vegeta BROLY, and Veku BROLY, and add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. So you don't actually have to attack, you can just sit there and keep doing this every single turn and get your pieces. So that's pretty cool. We have no idea of what kind of cards these are, but most likely in the next set or set 6, we're gonna find out what it's all about. But that doesn't mean that we can't actually still play him, because he's going to be available in January. That's when these packs do get released. His Awaken effect is Untap 2. And his front side is Super Saiyan Gogeta, which actually I really like this one. And if you've seen the other spoilers, his other form is very cool too. But his auto is when he attacks, he draws 1 card, which is pretty standard. But his activate main is choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards and place it at the bottom of the deck. I absolutely love it. The balance of 2 energy is perfect. 1 energy would have been too little to do this every single turn, but 2 energy is just right, even with the blue unyielding. Sensu and all the other energy manipulation that you can still do some damage by placing something at the bottom of the deck, especially since it's not KOing, so desires and recursion doesn't apply, and it's not warping, which could be awesome, but it doesn't really apply with the Gogeta archetype. The bottom of the deck is perfect. Absolutely perfect. The fact that you can do this every single turn, I love it. But the other part of it is that once per turn, you can choose 1 of your energy, doesn't say blue or whatever, and then place at the bottom of the owner's or at the place of the owner's drop area and draw 2 cards. So two things. So 1, this doesn't have a once per turn, so that first activate main, both of them, of course, you can activate either one as long as you only do this one time. But the first one, you can do this as many times as you want as long as you have that energy open. So again, 2 is perfect. If you want to spend 4 energy for 2 battle cards, that's perfectly fine. But still, again, because he is a blue leader, it isn't too much of an issue when it comes down to that. The other part of it is that the thing about this is that the first thing that comes to mind is that you use one energy that you don't need, or you did already use, like one of the energy for like a 1-drop or an effect or a combo or whatever, like further instruction or whatever, after you attack, and then you place it in your drop area instead of going to the hand like Ultimate Box Vegeta, and then you draw 2 cards. So you net pretty much 3 cards every single time on your turn if you do this, and it's still really cool. The other thing is that Marcel Russell, I think somewhere on the Facebook page, brought it up that this kind of comes back to the Mass Vegeta. My bad, Mass Saiyan, not Mass Vegeta. I keep getting those kind of mixed up. But this is kind of perfect for him. And yes, I know the ruling in which you have to have the right amount of energy when you do use this effect. So you can't mid-game, basically, if you didn't see the ruling, take your energy or drop your energy or whatever and then use this effect. What you do is attack and then draw, and then use one of your energy for Champa or whatever it may be, take the energy to drop, draw 2 cards, and then basically you pass the turn. And then you charge an energy. They're gonna charge an energy, obviously. They're gonna be at what, let's say 4 to your 3, and then you use Force Ejection Mass Saiyan. You warp one of their energies, and then after you use the first energy to do that, you go ahead and attack, and then draw a card, and then drop the energy into your drop area, the one that you use for Force Mass Saiyan, draw 2 cards, and just keep doing it. It's not as good as Energy Lock Vegeta back then, but it is still pretty damn good. And because of that, I actually like Gogeta more than I do like Broly. And that is a little bit of bias when it comes to just liking Gogeta in the first place. He is literally the best fusion in the show, and he is better than Vegito. I will fight you for that. But going to the Broly, his effect is just like the Krillin, and just like the Goku, the Green Goku from Draft Box, in which you attack, and as well as the Gogeta, which you attack, draw 1 card, or take 1 card from life if you want to, and then draw 1 card. So you net 2 cards every single time he attacks on his unawakened side, and then switch 2 to active when you flip it over. A couple things to remind everybody for him is his traits, and we'll get to that in a second. The other thing is his flip side, in which is pretty damn good actually, is when he attacks, draw 1 card, and his activate main is switch one of their battle cards to rest mode. So that's really good, not only because sometimes people play cards and then they just don't attack, something like Shenron, something like Foreseeing Hit, if they want to use Lightning Fast Hit, you know, those type of cards. So if you switch them to rest mode, and of course he's yellow, so if you're playing other yellow cards, a lot of them KO something in rest mode. So just keep that in mind when considering this effect. Not only that, when you're talking about revenge blockers in general, or whatever, and when you try and take game, this is really, really good to have. The other part is that you can just choose 1 card from your life, add it to your hand, not to the drop. So I wish they put it to the drop instead of hand. That's just me to kind of balance these out. But you choose one of your cards in rest mode and switches to active mode. So if it gets Crusher Balled, if it attacks and it doesn't, it fails to actually end the game, whatever, that is just such a good thing to have. Yes, it is once per turn, but that once per turn can win games 100%. So this Broly is super, super good, especially with the traits. I'll come back to the type of cards that you kind of take a look at, because it's sort of like the Shenron effect of like taking a big bad monster or a battle card or whatever, and restanding it and then going for game again. I mean, this is that type of mindset, but I'll come back to that. The first thing is that we have to consider the yellow, for one, because he is a Frieza's army. If you didn't know the lore, or the backstory for Broly, he was technically part of Frieza's army from the beginning. And in this movie, it's implied, if you look at the trailer, he walks out with Frieza and he's part of his army, or yeah, his army. So I mean, that makes sense as far as that goes. And on a game sense, yes, he does have access to Cold Bloodless. He does have access to all other Frieza army trait type of things, Cold Bloodless being the biggest thing right now. The other thing is that he's still a Saiyan. So his leader trait is a Saiyan. He is a yellow. This is literally probably the best yellow Saiyan to have and to play with. And this should have been how it should have been when Shigesh first came out. And if it was when Shigesh first came out, he would have been absolutely busted, but that's neither here nor there. His character trait is also something to kind of keep it in mind, because his character trait is not Broly. It is Broly. So BR for Broly, as in DBS Broly, as in the movie Broly. So you have to keep that in mind, because when you take a look at all of the old Broly cards, they basically do not have anything to do with the new Broly. So like this one, the overflowing Broly or Bio Warrior army has to have a Broly leader. This one does not have a Broly leader restriction, so you can still use them. This one does not, but this one does, in which if blah blah blah, if your leader card is Broly, your opponent may choose one of the battle cards and KO. If they don't, drop 2, etc, etc. So you can kind of see where I'm going with it for future Broly cards and for future support for him. So just watch out for that. Yes, you do have these other 2 Broly cards, which is funny. We have 3 Broly leaders. I just realized that is a lot, considering like other characters. Anyway, that doesn't make him not good. He can still Shigesh, he can still use Cold Bloodless, he can still Self-Awaken, he can still control the board, and still restand a big bad monster. The only thing that I don't like is that he is coming in a time where we have answers to pretty much everything that he is throwing at us, in which, you know, Mafuba will kind of put this null and void unless you're using Battering, which most of the time, which of course you're going to be using Battering. There's no reason why you wouldn't be using Battering for this guy. And other counters such as Crusher Ball, and as well as, well, Crusher Ball doesn't really apply, but still. The other thing is minus Killing Zone, so we have an answer for that. We have Cronoa as far as that for Shigesh, and we have another number of other counters when it comes to this. But inherently, this guy does a lot. He Self-Awakens, gets you a lot of cards, and can do a lot on his front side with a lot of traits supporting that. So really, when it comes to the big bad monsters, a couple of things come to mind. The first one is obviously Demigra, in which you attack twice basically after you overrun for 5, and they get to basically show their hand twice, and then if they have a counter, you drop all their battle cards, basically 4 of them, and then you restand him and attack again. So I mean, this is going to be a really cool thing to have. That's probably the direction I'll be taking him, so watch out for that in the future. Same thing for Mirror Create Absorb, in which you can still use Champa, you can still use Battering, you can still do all those things, so you don't have to wait until the end of the turn, or just basically until they have 2 life. You can wait until they're 4 life and basically restand him, have 2 Batterings in hand, have 2 Champas, and then just go for a game, because that's like that is literally a game, as long as you have enough in the drop and into warp. Majin Buu does come to mind, Ultra Instinct does come to mind, Beerus if you really want to go that way. Hero Revive still restands, and even if you don't attack again, the other thing is that like things with barrier is protected. So if you just restand it and you just take 1 from life, you can just keep it there and just gain the card advantage and just pass turn. Especially if you're playing Hero Revived, in which they just have 3 cards in hand. There's not much they're going to be able to do, because they can't attack it. This is always a fun thing to do, rebrand. I'm sure someone's gonna find out to do that. The other thing is that you have to realize that, and I really do want to hear the ruling for this, that triple attackers, which doesn't really apply here, but you can kind of get the idea of it. Triple attackers would restand, right? And then get 3 other attacks. That's my understanding, because you're not restanding the card after the attack, you're restanding the card to attack. So basically, after the 3 attacks that you do have, and then restand him, he will still go for 35,000 critical right after. So this probably sort of applies for anything that has triple strike or double strike or whatever, and on attack. So like when this card attacks, let's take a look at those real quick. Let's go down the line. So we already went through these. Godbreak Goku, okay, that's fine. The rebrand, already knew that. Already knew these. Jiren, if you really want to go that way, he is yellow. There you go, that's fine. Restand him. Let's look at the 6 real quick. Nothing too crazy here. Maybe the Dragon Fist Goku would probably be okay if you're running mono blue or blue yellow control. That way you can restand 4 energy for the cost of 1 life. Not too bad. I don't know. Maybe I know expanding energy Android 17 would probably be pretty interesting if you just dump your hand and draw 8 cards. That's pretty cool. Who put this here? Who did this? Who did this? Okay, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Reborn might be pretty cool, like a swap Broly deck. That would be actually really cool to have. Oh man, I might want to build that now. Uh-oh. That is sweet. Okay, because you restand with him after taking 1 life, then you take another life afterwards and restand him again for triple strike. And yeah, that would be pretty cool. That's actually really cool. All right, anyway, so you kind of get the idea of where I'm going with this. And yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot. There's another one. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing with your life? What is happening? All right, anyway, I'm kind of curious. Let's go see what that card is. Let's go to reset it. So yeah, overall, a really good leader. A lot of answers to it, but I think, again, he looks like a really cool control leader and a good game ender. That's the 2 things that they really put on point. It just sucks that he doesn't have the Broly trait, but it makes sense to balance it out and make sure he only interacts with the stuff that they want to, and as well as the new cards that we're gonna have, because we're gonna have, you know, the new Broly Broly support that I'll call it, and then the Gogeta Broly support in the other Goku, Vegeta, and Veku cards. So that's gonna be pretty cool. And then just overall, I think this is gonna be cool. I think all of this is just really cool. This is a really good direction, and I'm very excited to pick up both of these guys. So let me know what you think about these cards. Again, this is how you get them, and we have more cards coming February 1st. We won't see too much about that, but on Friday, we'll be seeing all the new and feature rare cards. So if you didn't know what the feature rare was, I don't know if it'll show us here, probably here, in which we'll see the feature rares, all the ones over here that is supposedly the Storm sort of killer. Hopefully this guy is 15k. I know I saw that it was supposed to be 10, but you know how Bandai is. They can change things pretty much last minute, as we saw with that yellow Goku. That's supposedly green now, so that's cool. Anyway, we have all these coming up. I'm very excited to see those. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next one. Like, subscribe, dislike. I said those in the wrong order, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.